This is John Ahrens, and you're looking at the schematic of the A-Force system I've been working on. And I'll leave this up here for you to copy. And the reason I'm showing you this is to show you where the meters are going. So I'm going to reflect back to this in a minute so you can see what's going on. Okay, in the schematic, this meter right here is registering 200 milliamps, and that is this one over here. So I'm putting a meter between the pulsing circuit and the battery, as you can see. The second meter is between the light and the circuit. You can see how that works. It goes through. I had a third meter up there, but right now it's not in place. Essentially it's in series, so you can see how that works. And what I've done is I've put a microamp meter here, not milli, microamp. So we're really going to see what's going on between the light. And you're going to see that pulse just a slight bit. And then on top of it all, we've got a voltmeter that'll register the volts on the battery, and there's our battery. I'm not quite sure what's happening to the battery at this point, whether it's charging a slight bit or not. The other portion of this, of course, is the coil. So if you refer back to the schematic, you'll note what's going on. Now, so what I'm going to do now is turn it on. And you can see the milli microamp meter going, and it is settling down to 0. So now we're at microamps. And the reason that's fluctuating is because we're getting a fluctuation here. If I had a decent way of producing the pulse, that fluctuation would stop. So here you can see I'm down at the micro amp, and I can adjust this back just a slight bit. Just a slight bit. Well, it's for all practical purposes 0, but you can see the flux. So I did have someone write and ask, suppose the meters aren't seeing it because of the frequency. Now you can see the meter definitely sees it. The reason it's fluxing at all there is because of this doggone frequency system I've got. So there's your light. There's your voltage. And here's the milliamps across the bottom of the circuit. And I put an analog meter in there so we could see better. The digital meter shows a little different. That's because of the frequency. So at 200 mils, going around that second part of the circuit, which is going through, see if I can get this here. Here, going through the battery side. And that's your 200 mils. And here we can see, if I could steady that out for you. Now I'm down at the micro amps. If I put the other meter back on there, it would steady it out. But this lets you know I'm really trying. So that's 20 microamps, 40 microamps, 60 and 80. There's really not much to this circuit. What I think is happening is I think we're getting a split off here. Amps to this side, something to this side. So what happens when I change the frequency? You'll see. Let's show you what happens on this side. Nothing. So now I've got amperage going, microamps going through the circuit on the light side. And now, essentially, I don't. Of course, we still have the light burning, huh? Now let's look at I'm going to do the same thing, and we're going to watch the voltmeter. So now I'm changing it back to the same. It's now registering 100 microamps, and now I'm going to bring it back to 0 right now. And it's pretty steady, as you can see. And so is this. So the reason I'm publishing this is because I want you guys to prove me wrong. That's what it's all about. Show me where I'm wrong. Show me what's not happening here. I think we're looking at a different kind of energy in there. Forget the word negative energy. Forget all that buzzword stuff. I think somehow or other got two flows together. And in the center, we're lighting this light. And the reason I say that is because I can make this needle go back and forth, which means somehow or other that the energy is going back and forth. Also, if I put a diode in this circuit, which I don't have time, that also deflects that. This circuit will work with a diode in it. It doesn't care which direction you put the diode. So if I put a diode here, facing it this way, the light still shines. If I face it this way, the light still shines. This is John Ahrens.